Most large language models see the world through a keyhole. You feed them fragments, summaries, carefully chunked slices of your codebase, hoping context doesn't bleed between calls. In June 2025, the Beijing-based AI lab Minimax released M3, an open-source model with a 1 million token context window. Not a research preview, not a gated API, a downloadable model released under an open license that can ingest an entire production codebase in a single pass and reason over it holistically. The implications for software engineering are not incremental, they are structural. Minimax M3 is a mixture of experts model, totaling approximately 456 billion parameters, with roughly 46 billion active during any given inference pass. This architectural choice, activating only a fraction of the network per query, is what makes the million-token window computationally feasible. The model was released on Hugging Face with weights, tokenizer, and documentation, following Minimax's earlier Minimax Text 01 work on long context architectures. Benchmark results published by the lab show M3 competitive with leading proprietary models across coding, reasoning, and instruction-following tasks, though independent verification across all claims is still ongoing as the community stress tests the release. Let's ground this concretely. 1 million tokens is approximately 750,000 words, or roughly 700 pages of dense source code. That's enough to hold an entire mid-sized monorepo, application code, configuration files, documentation, test suites, CI/CD pipelines, inside a single context window. No retrieval-augmented generation, no chunking strategies, no lossy summarization between calls. The model sees everything at once. For developers, this is the difference between asking a consultant who read your README and asking one who read every file in your organization's repository. Consider a cross-cutting refactor, renaming an internal API, migrating a shared type, or upgrading a dependency that touches 40 files across 6 services. With conventional context limits, an AI assistant handles this piecemeal, each file in isolation, often introducing inconsistencies. With a million token window, the model can ingest the entire dependency graph, understand call sites, trace type propagation, and generate a coherent change set that compiles. Early developer reports on social platforms like X and Reddit describe loading full Next.js and Python monorepos into M3 and receiving multi-file refactors that required minimal manual correction. Documentation rot is one of software engineering's chronic diseases. Coding agents that can't see your docs produce code that contradicts your architectural decisions. A million token window changes this calculus. You can load your codebase alongside its documentation, architecture decision records, API contracts, onboarding guides, style guides, and the model generates code that is aware of organizational context.
This enables what some practitioners are calling doc-aware agents, systems that don't just auto-complete syntax, but respect the intent captured in your written standards. The practical result is fewer review cycles and less drift between documentation and implementation. Code review is where long context becomes a competitive advantage. A meaningful review requires understanding not just the diff, but the surrounding codebase. What existing patterns does this change violate? What untouched modules might break? Traditional AI review tools chunk the diff and lose this peripheral vision. M3 can ingest the diff plus the entire repository it lands in. This enables review comments that reference distant modules, flag subtle regressions across service boundaries, and evaluate whether a change aligns with existing conventions, the kind of review that previously required a senior engineer with months of institutional context. M3 is not the first model to claim a million token window. Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro reached that threshold in early 2024, but it remains a closed API. You cannot self-host it, audit its behavior, or fine-tune it for proprietary workflows. Anthropic's Claude models offer up to 200,000 tokens. OpenAI's GPT-4o sits at 128,000. M3's distinguishing contribution is combining the million-token ceiling with open weights. For organizations with data sovereignty requirements, regulatory constraints, or simply a preference for infrastructure they control, this is a meaningful inflection point. The trade-off: self-hosting a 456 billion parameter MOE model demands serious hardware, multiple high VRAM GPUs, or a dedicated inference cluster. Here's a practical breakdown for builders ready to experiment. First, inference serving. Frameworks like VLLM and SGLang both support mixture of experts architectures and long context inference. You'll want tensor parallelism across at least 4 to 8 A100 or H100 GPUs, depending on quantization. Second, IDE integration. Tools like Continue.dev or Kodi can be pointed at a local API endpoint, giving you M3-powered autocomplete and chat inside VS Code. Third, and this is where it gets powerful, you can build a browser plus builder agent stack. Frameworks like OpenHands or SWE-agent can orchestrate M3 as their backbone model, loading entire repos into context, browsing documentation, executing shell commands, and iterating on code autonomously. The key architectural decision is whether to use the full million-token window for every query, which is slow and expensive, or implement intelligent context curation that loads only relevant files, reserving the full window for complex cross-cutting tasks. A necessary note of caution: a million-token window does not guarantee million-token comprehension. Research on long context models, including the well-known lost-in-the-middle findings, demonstrates that attention and recall degrade in the interior of very long contexts.
Whether M3 has overcome this limitation is still being evaluated by independent researchers. Inference cost scales with context length. Filling the full window on every call is neither fast nor cheap. And benchmark performance published by a model's own creators should always be weighed against independent evaluation. The technology is genuinely promising. The hype cycle is real. Both things can be true simultaneously. 2 years ago, a 4,000 token window was standard. Today, an open source model offers 1 million. The trajectory is clear, and its implications extend beyond coding into legal analysis, scientific literature review, and any domain where reasoning over large document collections matters. For software engineers specifically, M3 represents something that was previously available only through expensive proprietary APIs, or not available at all. The ability to give an AI the same codebase context that a senior engineer carries in their head, and to do so on infrastructure you own. That is not a minor convenience. That is a change in what's possible.